The Wedding Encounter, an unexpected billionaire romance story, Part 1 approximately equals 500 words. The wedding venue glittered beneath thousands of golden lights, making the grand ballroom look like something from a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead while soft violin music filled the air. Guests dressed in elegant gowns and tailored suits laughed, danced, and celebrated the beginning of a new chapter for the happy couple. Among the busy staff was Emma Carter, a hardworking event planner's assistant. Unlike the guests, she wasn't there to celebrate. She was there to make sure everything went perfectly. With a clipboard in one hand and a headset in the other, Emma rushed from one corner of the ballroom to another, solving problems before anyone noticed them. She believed in love, but after years of disappointment and financial struggles, fairy tales felt like stories meant for other people. Just as the wedding ceremony ended, a sudden power fluctuation caused the lights to flicker. The musicians stopped playing, and whispers spread through the crowd. Emma quickly hurried toward the control room, hoping to fix the problem before panic ruined the evening. Turning a corner too quickly, she accidentally collided with a tall man wearing a perfectly tailored black tuxedo. The impact sent her papers flying across the marble floor. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," Emma said, kneeling to gather the scattered documents. Instead of walking away, the stranger bent down to help her. His expensive watch caught the light as he carefully picked up each page. "It's my fault too," he said with a warm smile. "You seem to be carrying the weight of this entire wedding." Emma looked up for the first time. His sharp blue eyes, calm expression, and confident posture immediately caught her attention. He didn't look like an ordinary guest. "Thank you," she replied softly. "I'm Daniel Brooks." Emma nodded politely. Emma Carter. Neither of them realized that this simple introduction would soon change both of their lives forever. Before Emma could say another word, someone rushed toward Daniel. "Mr. Brooks, the board members have arrived. They're waiting for you." Emma blinked in surprise. "Mr. Brooks." Only then did she recognize the name. Daniel Brooks was the billionaire CEO of one of the country's largest investment companies, a man whose face often appeared in business magazines. Embarrassed, she quickly apologized again. "I didn't know who you were." Daniel smiled. "I was hoping you didn't." For the first time that evening, someone had spoken to him without caring about his wealth or reputation. That simple conversation stayed with him long after they walked in different directions. Later that evening, Emma noticed Daniel standing alone on the garden terrace, away from the crowd. Unlike everyone else, he didn't seem interested in the luxury surrounding him. Their eyes met across the garden. For a brief moment, everything else faded into silence. Neither of them knew that fate had already begun writing a love story neither money nor power could control. That unexpected wedding encounter was only the beginning. The greatest surprises, and the deepest emotions, were still waiting just around the corner. The wedding reception continued late into the evening, but Daniel Brooks couldn't stop thinking about Emma. Among hundreds of glamorous guests trying to impress him, she was the only person who had treated him like an ordinary man. Her kindness and sincerity stayed on his mind. Meanwhile, Emma finished her work and stepped outside into the quiet garden for a moment of fresh air. The cool evening breeze helped her relax after the long, exhausting day. She never expected to see Daniel standing near the fountain, looking thoughtfully at the water. "Long day?" he asked with a gentle smile. Emma laughed softly. "You have no idea." Daniel smiled. "Actually, I think I do. Running a company with thousands of employees isn't always as glamorous as people imagine." Emma looked at him in surprise. "Most billionaires wouldn't admit that." "Most people only see the headlines," Daniel replied. "Very few see the lonely parts." His honesty caught her off guard. For the next few minutes, they talked like old friends. Emma shared stories about working multiple jobs to support her widowed mother and younger brother. Daniel listened carefully, impressed by her strength and determination. "You've been through a lot," he said quietly. "So have you," Emma replied. "Money doesn't protect people from pain." Daniel nodded. It was one of the truest things anyone had ever said to him. Just then, a sharply dressed woman approached them. She wrapped her arm around Daniel's and gave Emma a cold, judgmental look. "There you are," she said. "The investors have been looking for you." Daniel gently stepped away. "Sophia, I'll be there in a minute." Sophia's eyes narrowed as she glanced at Emma's staff badge. I didn't realize the event staff entertained the guests now. Emma felt her face grow warm with embarrassment. Before she could respond, Daniel spoke firmly. Emma is my guest. Please show her the respect she deserves. Sophia forced a smile, but the jealousy in her eyes was impossible to hide. Without another word, she walked away. Emma sighed. You didn't have to defend me. Yes, I did, Daniel answered. Respect should never depend on someone's job or bank account. His words touched her heart. As the evening came to an end, guests began leaving one by one. Emma gathered her belongings, believing she would never see Daniel again. Outside the venue, heavy rain suddenly poured from the sky. Taxis disappeared quickly, leaving many people stranded. A sleek black luxury car stopped beside her. The rear window rolled down. Daniel smiled. Need a ride? Emma hesitated. Everything inside her told her to refuse. Their worlds were too different. But the rain grew heavier. After a long pause, she opened the car door and climbed inside. Neither of them realized that this simple ride home would become the first step toward a romance that would soon be tested by secrets, ambition, and unexpected betrayals. The Wedding Encounter, an unexpected billionaire romance story, Part 3 approximately equals 500 words. The ride through the rain-soaked city was quiet at first. Soft jazz played in the background as the luxury car glided through the empty streets. Emma looked out the window, watching the raindrops race across the glass. She still couldn't believe she was sitting beside one of the country's most successful billionaires. Daniel broke the silence with a smile. So, what's your dream, Emma? Not your job, your real dream. She hesitated before answering. I've always wanted to open my own event planning company. I love creating beautiful moments for people. I just never had the money to make it happen. Daniel admired the determination in her voice. Dreams don't have an expiration date, he said. Sometimes they just need the right opportunity. Emma smiled. I hope you're right. When they reached her modest apartment building, Daniel stepped out of the car and walked her to the entrance despite the rain. Thank you for the ride, Emma said sincerely. It was my pleasure, Daniel replied. May I see you again? Emma was surprised by the question. She knew their lives were completely different, yet something about Daniel felt genuine. I'd like that, she answered softly. Over the next few weeks, they met several times. They shared coffee at small cafes, strolled through peaceful city parks, and talked for hours about life, family, and their dreams. Daniel never tried to impress her with expensive gifts. Instead, he gave her something far more valuable, his time and attention. Slowly, they began falling in love. But not everyone was happy about their growing relationship. Sophia had watched Daniel become distant from the business deals she had planned. She believed Emma was distracting him from his responsibilities and threatening her own ambitions. Determined to separate them, Sophia hired a private investigator to dig into Emma's past. Days later, she received a report. There was nothing scandalous in Emma's history, only years of hard work, sacrifice, and honesty. Frustrated, Sophia decided to create a lie instead. She arranged for fake photographs to make it appear that Emma was secretly meeting another wealthy businessman. Then she anonymously sent the pictures to Daniel. When Daniel opened the envelope, his smile disappeared. The images looked convincing, and doubt crept into his heart. Without asking Emma for an explanation, he cancelled their dinner that evening. Emma waited alone at the restaurant for nearly an hour. She checked her phone again and again, but there was no message, only silence. Confused and heartbroken, she quietly left, unaware that someone had carefully planned this painful misunderstanding. Across town, Sophia watched from her office window with a satisfied smile. The game has just begun, she whispered. Meanwhile, Daniel stared at the photographs, torn between what he saw and what he felt. Deep inside, he wanted to trust Emma. But the false evidence had planted a seed of doubt that threatened to destroy the beautiful relationship they had only just begun. Neither of them knew that the greatest test of their love was still ahead, and only the truth could decide whether their unexpected wedding encounter would end in heartbreak or a happily ever after.